welcome back to Red a Ted Art. Today we're going to be sewing these mini mermaid dolls. Aren't they adorable? The video is all about this one. A couple of weeks ago I sewed this one with my daughter, so it was a together project. She did the body and the hair, she did the face, I did the tail and the little bikini top. Now this one I forgot to put the bikini top on. It's just some sequins that you sew on, or some buttons or some felt, so it's up to you if you want to add some. But it's a really cute and really fun little sewing project. So come on, let's take a look and see how they're made. So we'll need some felt, some fabric, our cutouts, some thread, scissors and pens. First thing we want to do is cut out 2 pieces of felt for our mermaid body. So I'm going to fold this over. There's lots of bits stuck to my felt today. And I'm going to line it up. I want to be able to cut out 2 at the same time. And I'm going to use a black pen because the pencil won't show, to outline my mermaid body. I'm going to use these really good fabric scissors because if you use good scissors, it's easier to cut. And I've got these scissors especially for fabrics. Now you can still see some of the outlines, so if you turn it back to front, then any marks will be on the inside and you won't be able to see them. That's my mermaid's body. Now I'm going to cut out my mermaid's tail. I need 2. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to put it back to front only because I can then use my pencil mark and hopefully you won't see it on the actual mermaid itself. When you're cutting the tail, or if you've got pattern on it, do watch out that the pattern runs in a nice way along the tail. So you might, and this one it doesn't matter so much, but on some fabrics, the lines might go that way or that way. So do consider how you cut your fabric out. So your fabric should be just wider than your mermaid. I might actually give this a tiny trim just to give me a little bit more space in a minute. I think that works. Yeah, just wider. Okay, now it's time to sew. So for the mermaid's body, I'm going to do an overstitch. Now I've got videos in the iCards which show you how to do the different stitches. An overstitch is nice and easy. And when we made my first doll, my daughter Pipsqueak, who's 8, did this one all by herself. So I'm going to just thread my needle. And we're going to do the overstitch going all the way around. Now, if you go in between the 2 fabrics, you can put the knot on the inside and it won't be seen. So overstitch is basically, you're always coming in from the same direction. So I'm always going to come from underneath. So underneath, up, and again from underneath, up. Now as you can see, my thread's black, so you will be able to see the thread a little bit. I think it looks fine. If you don't like to be able to see it, you can use a brown thread or a thread that matches your felt. But I think if you can see it a little bit, it really isn't a problem. I think it still looks quite cute. Okay, for those of you who've asked how to knot off, what I do is I take my needle, I push it through the last loop, I create another loop and push it through again. That creates a little knot. So I do that twice. And then I open up my sewing, I push it in, basically to get the end of my thread inside of the sewing of my craft so it doesn't fall out again. Snip it, and that's knotted off. So that's the first part done. Now it's time for our tail. So I'm going to change my threads. I'm going to get some white. Okay, so this time you need to make sure that your seam runs just outside of your mermaid. So make sure you're not sort of bringing the seam in too close and then you can't turn it around. So my mermaid is here and here. So it's quite a thin seam. And I'm going to do a back stitch. And the reason I'm doing a back stitch is because I think it's a little bit stronger. Make sure everything's aligned. You can pin it if you need to. First stitch. So back stitch is you bring it under. And then you go back and under again. Now I've got a video up in the iCards that you can watch and you can see it nice and slow. So I'm doing a back stitch because I think it's a stronger, more secure stitch and it will mean that my tail won't accidentally unravel. Also notice how this is a very short seam. It's like less than 1/2 centimetre. Leave this attached because you're going to use it in a minute. You'll need to use your little scissors and give some little snips. Careful not to cut into your sewing. These snips will make it easier to turn. So you put the snips into all the corners and any big curves. Careful not to cut your sewing. Time to turn it inside out. This is going to be a bit fiddly because it's quite small. Don't worry about this loosening, you can tighten it again at the end. Let's have a look, see how this fits. Oh look, it's going to look so cute. I love it already. Okay, it's time for a tiny bit of toy stuffing. I'm using an old pillow, so you don't have to use toy stuffing. You can also stuff it with something like, I don't know, a plastic bag or fabric scraps or I think wool's quite good if you've got any wool scraps. And I'm just going to gently fill up my mermaid's body and then the tail, and then it's time to sew it together. Got your tail, got your body, now you need to connect them. So this is a bit fiddly, so you're going to fold this in. Fold this in. And then pop the doll in as if it's wearing trousers. And take my needle and then I'm going to sew it on. So you can just do like a little running stitch, or I'm going to do what's called a ladder stitch. I'm going to link to a ladder stitch in the iCards, but basically where the fold is, you push your needle in, push it out, and then you push parallel. You're kind of doing like a parallel stitch into the fold of your mermaid tail. Okay, so tie off. So as before, I'm just going to catch my little last stitch, push the needle through it again. When there's a loop, push it through nice and tight. Then I'm going to push my needle into my sewing and cut. All right, look at that. Isn't it adorable? Great. So it's time for the hair. Okay, so I'm going to get some greens. I've got some nice different coloured threads. I'm going to line them all up. I think that looks quite nice. Create some strands yourself. Now, find with the positioning of your hair. Get the position right, and then you're going to bunch it up. So I'm going to put two more strands in. Just check it's all the same sort of length. I think that's good. Then you can tie that quite stiffly. And I'm going to use, as a center parting, I'll use another bit of the dark pink, and I'll sew that on. The hair with these dolls is always the trickiest, I have to say, because you kind of want to put it on the doll in a way that doesn't make it look too bald. It's quite easy for these little dolls to look a little bit bald. So make a little knot. I'm going to secure this into the middle of the head. I'm going to go in from the back, just in case you do see the head knot a little bit. And I'm going to position this. Bring the needle, so push it through the head, bring it over to where the bunches are. Might be a bit stiff. And sew the bunch into place. Now, if you find that any of your strands are loose, you can just give them a little tug, very gently, just to tidy them up. And now it's time for the face. Now, with our other little mermaid of this size, we just use pens to decorate the face. I think the eyes should work. Yeah, we'll do some black eyes. You could use felt and glue it on. You could sew it on. But I think the black pen works. And then I'm going to maybe see if I can get hold of two little pink cheeks. So I'm just going to have a look what looks better. Maybe it looks better without. I don't know yet. Let's have a little experiment. I think I might go for the bright pink. I don't think I can tell you quite how much I love this little doll. She's adorable. Anyway, keep watching until the end of the video and I'll show you the one that Pipsqueak and I made together. And obviously there's this one again you can see in detail. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. But above all, look at my monkey fingers, above all, keep watching, keep making, and we'd love to see you here again soon. Take care. Bye.